Hello everyone, my name is Stonesy Boy, and today we are going to be reading some more, because you know, the FNAF month, the month of FNAF. Last video I got done with night 5, and that was only that was only 2 hours ago, so you know, I'm still pretty hyped, because I schedule all my videos. Sorry, my freaking spit thing, the one that covers my spit, is not working properly. Give me a second. Tighten that up. Tighten that up. It's working a beaut now. Everything's plugged in. Everyone can hear me. Good, good, good. We're actually almost one more episode after this, and we're done with this book. It's kind of crazy to think about that, to be honest. We are on page 161, and we're going from 161 to 180. I actually have a guest here today. His name's Oliver. He's my cat, and he's looking at me with deep depression because last time I read this to him, he fell asleep, and he's very tired. But, yeah. That's how this is gonna go. I should sound better as we do this. Right. I need to preparate everything before we start reading. I know everyone's like, just start reading! I know. Just, I have to prepare. I have chocolate milk and, Fanta. Okay, put in the comments, what's your favorite flavor of Fanta? Mine is Fanta Grape. Hurts my throat, that's why I like it. Light on. Let's read. You know Poe? You know Poe? Millie asked. It's weird to hear him recite one of his favorite poems. Grandpa was a math person. She didn't expect him to know anything about poetry. Believe it or not, I'm a pretty illiterate old dude. I like Poe and a lot of other writers too. I know you like Poe because he's dark and spooky, and it's easy to romanticize death when you're young and it's so far away. But Poe didn't write about death because he thought it was romantic. He wrote about it because he lost so many of the people he loved. You never experienced that kind of loss, Millie. It changes you. He blinked hard. You know, for years after she died, friends were always trying to fix me up with another woman. But it never worked. She was the only one for me. Millie had never really thought about Grandpa's feelings before. How he must have felt when Grandma got sick and died. How lonely he must have been after she was gone. How she might be lonely now. How he might be lonely now. That must have been hard, she said, losing Grandma. Grandpa nodded. It was. I still miss her every day. Well, thanks for dinner, Millie said. I guess I'd better start working on my homework. Without being asked, Grandpa said, smiling. This is certainly a special day. In her room, Millie didn't think of death. She thought of Dylan, and she thought about what Grandpa had said about Grandma, and then she recited Annabelle Lee in her head this time. It seemed like the poem about love instead of the poem about death. Silly Millie. For some reason, who doesn't want to die, you sure spend a lot of time talking about it. The voice surrounded her said, but that's a way of things, isn't it? Talk is way easier than action. I think, Millie said, sniffling, that when I said I wanted to die, I really was to escape. I didn't want death. I just wanted my life to be different. Oh! But that really takes action, doesn't it? The voice said. Changing a life for the better, especially when the world is such a mean, rotten place. It's much easier and ultimately much more satisfying, just to snuff it out. Which brings me to my second set of options. Much more interesting ones. These are quick and easy for you for the most part, but they do require a little bit more effort from me. Not complaining, though. There's nothing I'd like more than a good challenge to relieve my boredom. Say, do you like Dracula, don't you? Millie could barely find her voice to answer. Why? Are you gonna bite my neck? Now, how would I do that with you in my belly? Silly girl. I know what your Dracula plan. The kids at school call you Dracula's daughter, don't they? Well, you might not know the character of Dracula was inspired by a real person, a prince named Vlad Dracula. But he's better known by his nickname, Vlad the Impaler. Millie's inside soon turned to jelly. Vlad killed thousands of his enemies, but his crowning achievement was creating a force of impaled, where thousands of his victims, men, women, and children, were skewered through stakes, driven into the ground. Now, I'm no prince, but I can aspire to that a level of achievement. But one little old impaling can't even be that hard, can it? I can just take one of my metal rods and drive it through my body cavity. It'll go straight through you and out the other side. If the spike goes through your vital organs, death comes quickly. If it doesn't, there can be some hours of bleeding and suffering. The people who walked through the forest of the pale started talking about the moaning and gasping of victims. So, impaling! One might say other deaths from impale in comparison. The voice tone was cheery. It can work quickly or slowly, but the result is the same in the end. Like I said, win-win. No, Millie whispered. She wanted her mom and dad. She wanted her grandpa. She only hoped they only knew. She even settled for Goofy, Uncle Rob, and Aunt Sherry, as long as they would come to her rescue. She would even put on a Christmas sweater if it made them happy. I mean, yeah, I'd also put on a Christmas sweater if I was about to die. Millie sat at the table at the cafeteria expectantly. She had taken special care with her appearance this morning, choosing the lacy black top of jet Victorian morning necklace from her small collection. Her face powder enhanced her pallor. Her black eyeliner was the perfect cat-like effect. As minutes passed, she started to worry. What if Dylan didn't show up? What if she had gotten all dressed up for nothing? What if she had always suspected life offered no possibility to pleasure or happiness? But then there he was, with his leather jacket and fire engine red hair and shiny silver earrings. Hey, Millie said, trying not to sound like she was too happy to see him. Hey, sitting his tray on the table and sitting across from her. I brought you something. Millie's heart pounded in excitement. She hoped she didn't show it. He reached into the pocket of his leather jacket and pulled out a paperback book. H.P. Lovecraft, he said. H.P. Lovecraft, he said. I was telling you about him yesterday. I remember, Millie said, taking the book, The Call of Cthulhu and Other Stories. Did I say that right? Cthulhu? Who knows? Dylan said. H.P. Lovecraft made it up, and he's dead, so we can't ask him. You can keep the book. I got a copy in the hardcover for my birthday. He grinned. My parents are cool. They don't mind that I like weird stuff. Thanks. She felt a little smile creeping up on her. She slipped the book back into her bag. She would certainly read the book, but it wasn't the book itself that was making her feel all smiley. It was that Dylan had thought of her. While he was at home, did not her presence, but I thought of her, found the book, put it in his jacket pocket, and remembered to give it to her. In her experience, boys weren't usually this thoughtful. After dinner in her room, Millie started reading the H.P. Lovecraft book. Lovecraft book. Dylan was right. It was just weirder than Poe stuff even, and scary in a way that made her feel like spiders were crawling beneath her skin. But she loved it. It was a perfect gift for Dylan to give her. Millie wasn't a flowers and candy kind of girl. She's not like other girls. After she read a couple of stories, she opened her laptop. Instead of Googling poems about death, she searched for poems about love. She found a famous one by Elizabeth Browning that began, How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. She had read the poem before and thought it was just as pretty words. She could appreciate the feeling behind the words, strong feelings, or the rare person who truly understood, for whom you understood in return. She took out her black leather journal, chewed on her pen, and thought. Finally, she wrote, You clipped away the black thorny vines that twisted around my wounded heart, so it could beat and feel relief from pain, the gardener who wakes the plants from the gray, chilly death of winter, so that they can blossom again like my heart, a slow-blooming, blood-red rose. She read the poem back to herself and sighed in satisfaction. Her mood only darkened slightly, when she set her journal aside to start her homework. No pity. Oh, it's my boy Freddy. No pity? I was always thinking impaling was a certain dramatic flair. Perhaps something with a little more zing. Electrocution? Is always an effective option. Did you know that the idea for the electric chair was developed in the 1800s by the dentist named Alfred P. Southwick? He came up with the idea of the electric chair based on the dental chair. That's not exactly comforting for people with dental phobias, now is it? I don't have a chair to strap you into, but I can just power and shoots the series of strong electrical currents through my body cavity. If the current zaps your heart or brain, you will die quickly. If it doesn't, you'll have some nasty burns. Your heart will go into fibrillation, which will genuinely kill you if you don't have help. And I think we've already established that you don't have anyone to help you. Help was the word Millie wanted desperately to scream, but she knew it was a waste of energy needed to conserve. She had any hope of survival. So what do you think, Cupcake? Electrocution? You'd be shocked at how effective it is. An electrifyingly good time. Another chuckle. Millie had once experienced a shock unplugged her hair dryer from a wall socket in a badly wired hotel room. She felt the electricity tear painfully up her arm. Moments was about to breathe, as if someone had punched her in the stomach. She didn't want to think about how electric current strong enough to kill her would feel. A good time for you, but not for me. A good time for you, but not for me, she said. Once on Saturday afternoon, when most other kids were at the mall or the movies or hanging out in one another's houses, Millie walked downtown to the public library. It was about a 20-minute walk, so the walk there and back was with an hour or two of browsing, reading, sandwiched in between, was a pleasant way of spending a Saturday afternoon in solitude. Today she roamed to the library stacks looking for the suitably dark reading material. She had finished the Call of Cthulhu dark reading material, and was disappointed when there wasn't any more books by Lovecraft on the shelves. Hey! A voice called behind her. She gasped and jumped, and then saw it was Dylan. I didn't mean to startle you, he said. Hey, did you read that Lovecraft book? No, he didn't believe that the stars had aligned she had run into Dylan outside of school. Yes, I loved it. It was kind of hoping they'd have more stuff by him here. Dylan said. I bet I can pick something else you'd like. Give me a sec. With a thoughtful expression, he scanned the shelves, and then pulled out a thin book with a black cover and handed it over to her. The Lottery and Other Stories by Shirley Jackson. Oh, The Lottery and the Other Stories by Shirley Jackson, she read. Yup, you'll love her. It's the perfect book to continue your classic horror pursuits. Hey, he said. I was reading at the table over there and until I saw you. If you want to sit there and read, too, you can. Okay. Millie worked hard not to show how happy his invitation made her. I've got to admit, I've got an ulterior motive of inviting you, Dylan said. I want to see the book on your face once you finish reading it, the short story in that book. They sat at the table across from each other and read compatible silence. Millie loved talking with Dylan, but being quiet with him was nice too. She read The Lottery, with a growing feeling of suspense, and when she got to the ending, Dylan laughed. You're reading with your mouth hanging open, he said. It's the ultimate surprise ending, isn't it? It really is. Say, Dylan said, I was thinking after I check out my books, I might have a cup of tea at the cafe next door. Would you like to do that too? I mean, you don't have to drink tea, because I do. You can have coffee or hot chocolate. Tea sounds nice, Millie said. This afternoon was turning out to be nice. Surprisingly so. Millie had passed you and me coffee and tea hundreds of times, but had never gone inside. It was a pleasant place with exposed brick walls displaying paintings by local artists. Sitting with Dylan over the steaming cups, Millie said, I think I might like to be a librarian someday. She had never told anyone this before. She had always been afraid of getting laughed at. That would be cool, Dylan said. You love books. I love books. I love being quiet. Oh. I love books. I love being quiet, Millie said, sipping her Earl Grey tea. You should totally dress in a goth librarian style, too, Dylan said. You could put your hair up and wear jet jewelry and the black Victorian dress, and those old-fashioned glasses that just clip onto your nose. What are they called? Prince Nez. Dylan grinned. Yeah, those. And when you dress like that and shush people in the library, it'll scare the living daylights out of them. Millie laughed. Had to admit, it felt good. School days were better when she had lunch with Dylan. She could spend the morning looking for the ward and seeing him in the afternoon. Think about they said to each other. Sometimes she felt a little silly for pretending to... I just lost my thinking. Too much time with, whatever the freak. Too much time thinking about a boy. But Dylan wasn't just an ordinary boy. Today, when she got home from school, her grandpa met her with a cluttered living room. I thought we might go to the school holiday bazaar tonight, he said. Instead of his usual cardigan, he was wearing an ugly green pullover sweater decorated with creepy smiling Christmas trees. The holiday bazaar is stupid. Millie rolled her eyes. There's a bunch of people selling ugly Christmas tree ornaments made out of popsicle sticks. Okay, I'm going to pause it right there. It's not the end, but we are at the 10-page mark. I actually really don't feel like I need my drink break. I actually feel great. Hey, Oliver. So, what were you trying to say to the fans, Oliver? Meow. It's very insightful. Hold on, guys. I need to go take out my cat. Come on. Meow. 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 I guess he didn't want a story today. Or he has to go to the bathroom. I did just get done feeding him. One of them. Anyways, so I'm pretty sure, usually I don't have a theory around now, but I'm pretty sure, I'm almost 100% sure that Freddy is Funtime Freddy. Because Funtime Freddy is the only Freddy ever been actually found inside of a freaking thing. Funtime Freddy is the only one with a child holder. So I'm thinking that a prototype of Funtime Freddy or it's Funtime Freddy. Gotta be one of them. Hold on. Okay. I got my little drink of that, my little drink of chocolate milk. That was a horrible idea. I don't know why I did it. And let's continue. Doesn't it feel like forever when someone's reading? It does to me. Think about that. After this episode, it's going to be one more episode. Freaky, huh? Okay. Oh, I always thought the bazaar was kind of fun. When I was a teacher, this year there would be chili supper, and you could choose between meat and vegetarian chili. And there's all-you-can-eat cookie buffet. Think about those words for a minute, Millie. He paused dramatically. All-you-can-eat cookie buffet. You've really done your homework on this, haven't you? Millie said. She would never say it out loud, but it was kind of cute how excited Grandpa was. I take cookies very seriously. I can see that, Millie sighed. Maybe this is the time she could let the old man have something he wanted. The two of them didn't get out much, and it might be good for him. And among the other people, okay, I guess I'll go, even if it's not my thing. Great! Grandpa said. We'll leave in about an hour. He looked her up and down. Maybe you could wear something besides black. Something, a little more festive. Don't push it, Grandpa, Millie said. She couldn't even believe she agreed to attend a lame event. But maybe Dylan would be there, under durs, like her, and they could make fun of it together. The school halls were sparkly with Christmas lights, and Millie had been correct in predicting the ugliness of the ornaments for sale. But the vegetarian chili was tasty. There's an impressive variety of cookies in the cookie buffet, including gingerbread, which is one of her favorite. Okay, so all you can eat cookie buffet, but are they cooked? Like, are they warm or are they cold? Because, like, if they got warm chocolate chip cookies and warm gingerbread, now that's worth it. But, like, if they got cold, nah, I'll eat cold gingerbread, just not cold chocolate chip. After she and her grandpa ate their fill, she wandered the hallways, giving the impression of looking at the craft displays, but really was looking for Dylan. She found him in the second floor hallway, but not the way she wanted to. Dylan was standing right in the front of the booth, selling reindeer Christmas ornaments made out of candy canes. But he wasn't alone. He was with Brooke Harrison, a blandly pretty blonde girl who was Millie's U.S. government class. Dylan and Brooke were holding hands and laughing at some private joke in a couple-ish way. Millie bit her lip, keep from gasping, turned around and ran through the hall down the stairs. She had to find Grandpa. She had to get out of there. Where's the fire? Dracula's daughter, some random kid asked her. She didn't even bother to process who it was. They were all the same anyway. She ran into the cafeteria, scanning the crowd for Grandpa's ugly Christmas sweater. Unfortunately, a lot of people were wearing ugly Christmas sweaters. She finally found Grandpa next to the drinks table, sipping coffee and chatting with other old men who were also retired teachers. These guys apparently slopped the same ugly Christmas sweater store as Grandpa. We have to go, Millie hissed at him. Grandpa knitted his brow in concern. Are you sick or something? No, I just have to go. Why wouldn't he move faster? Okay, honey. He gave the other old guys a look and seemed to say, they're so emotional at this age. And then said, see you later, fellas. Merry Christmas. In the car, Grandpa said, what's the matter, honey? Somebody at school say something to hurt your feelings? Millie couldn't believe Grandpa would be so stupid. Nobody at school said anything to me, because nobody at school ever says anything to me. Nobody at the school cares whether I live or die. She stiffled up and sobbed and wiped under her eyes to stop the flow of tears. I can remember the feeling. I can remember the feeling that way when I was at your age. I wouldn't go back to being 14 or anything. Not even with all the years I'd get back. The tears weren't stopping. Millie looked out the window and tried to ignore Grandpa. He couldn't possibly understand. Okay. Nobody could understand. Especially people who got excited about Christmas sweaters and cookies and had all fake happy stuff they filled their minds with to ward off the fear of death. Wow, Millie, you're sounding like you're dogging yourself in its own little special way. Huh, very, very interesting indeed. Millie wasn't afraid of death right now. Death felt like her only friend. My, we're certainly picky, aren't we? The voice said. For someone who wants the end result, we're awfully fussy about how to achieve it. But there are lots more options. I feel like a waiter talking my way through the menu of a fancy restaurant. The difference, of course, is the menu gets you fed. The other menu gets you dead. Oh, I cracked myself up. Since I was talking about food, how about boiling? Did you know Henry VIII made boiling alive the official form of punishment during his reign? Funny that they would call it boiling alive, because goodness knows you don't stay alive for very long. But I could easily flood my insides with water and then use my energy stores to bring the temperature up, up, up. First, it would feel like a nice warm bath, and then it would keep getting hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter. And I wonder if you would turn red like a lobster. Millie sat miserably at her table in the cafeteria, knowing that she was doomed to eat alone. She opened an anthology of horror stories and she checked out the school library books. At least would always keep her company. Then Dylan sat across from her, acting like absolutely nothing was wrong. Hey, he said. How can you just sit across from me like that? Millie said. So casual, opening up his ketchup packets and creating a little red puddle on his plate like it always does. Like what? Dylan said, looking loud. Like what? Saying lost. I sit here every day. I would think you'd want to sit with Brooke, Millie said. Brooke has a different lunch period than me. He obviously dipped a nugget into his ketchup puddle, popped it into his mouth. Millie felt anger rising up all the way from her toes. So I'm what? Your backup? Her understudy? Dylan rubbed his face like he was tired. I'm sorry, Millie. I'm trying to keep up. I really am, but you're not making any sense. Millie couldn't understand how he could be so stupid. Dylan, I saw you with her at the bazaar last night. Yeah, so? She never felt so exasperated. You were holding hands. You were clearly together. Yeah, so? Repeated, and look of realization dawned on his face. Wait, Millie. Did you think you and I were dating? Millie swallowed hard and told herself not to cry. You noticed me, brought me a book, took me out for tea. Of course I thought we might, in the future, date, I mean. Wow, Dylan said. Sorry if I misled you. I mean, you're really great and really pretty and everything, but I never meant to make you think that we're other than friends. Haven't you ever had a friend who's a boy but who's not? You know, a boyfriend? Hannah had been Millie's only friend and abandoned her. There was no way Millie was sharing the fact with Dylan. Of course I have. But Dylan, you told me I was the only cool person you met at this school. I did, but that was my first day. I've met other cool people since then. Like Brooke. His drip in sarcasm. What, you didn't approve of Brooke? Dylan said. She's blonde and basic, Millie said. No need to mice truth. Mine's words. Truth was the truth. Have you ever had a conversation with her? Dylan asked. Do you even know what she's like? Had Millie ever heard Brooke say anything? She was quiet in the U.S. government class. Millie assumed that because she didn't have anything interesting or important to say. I've never talked to her, Millie said. I don't talk to just anyone. Dylan shook his head. Well, Brooke isn't just anyone. She's smart, well-read, and nice. She wants to be a veterinarian. Why does it matter what color her hair is? Okay, I'm not gonna say anything. Dylan looked out at her hard, like he was holding through her. Millie, I'm disappointed in you. You of all people with a black wardrobe and black eyeliner and black nail polish, seems you would know better than to judge a person based on her appearance. You don't like when people do it to you, yet you're guilty of your very same crime. I'm pretty sure that's called hypocrisy. He stood up. I think this conversation is over. Sorry. As the winter holidays approached, Millie's mood became grimmer and grimmer. The cold temperatures and the gray skies and stripped bare trees all matched her emotional state perfectly. Cheerful holiday lights and plastic Santas on people's houses filled her with anger. The sound of Christmas carols in stores and other public places enraged her. She felt that she couldn't be held responsible for her actions if she had to hear Winter Wonderland one more time. Holiday cheer, peace on earth, and goodwill were just lies people told themselves. Winter was the season of death. At dinner, vegetable stir-fry for Millie, chicken and vegetable stir-fry for Grandpa said. So, are you excited about tomorrow? It's the last day before winter break. Not really, Millie said. Listen, I've been meaning to tell you. I'm not celebrating Christmas this year. Grandpa's face... Oh, listen, I've been meaning to tell you. I'm not celebrating Christmas this year. Grandpa's face fell. Not celebrating Christmas? Well, why ever not? Millie poked at a piece of broccoli with her fork. I refuse to pretend to be happy in some particular day, just because society tells me I'm supposed to be. It's not about society, it's about family, Grandpa said. It's about getting together and enjoying each other's company. Christmas Eve. Your aunt and uncle and cousins are coming over, and your mom and dad are going to Skype in so they can be part of things. We'll have to bake dinner and exchange gifts, and then we'll have chocolate and cookies and play board games. Man, I wish my Christmas was like that. That'd be nice. But I always go to South Carolina and have my own fun. Millie felt nauseous at the thought of the false cheer. I'll be here because I don't have any other place to go. But I refuse to participate in the festivities. Is that a fact? Grandpa said, pushed his plate away. Listen, Millie, you've never been a particularly cheerful child. Heaven knows you were the fuzziest baby I've ever seen. But when you were a toddler, your temper tantrums were legendary. But I feel you're especially unhappy here with me now. And I'm genuinely sorry for that. I'm an old man. I'm no expert at the young girls like, but I've tried to make things nice for you as I can. Maybe it would even be better if I chosen to move abroad from your mom and dad. I know it must be hard to be so far away from them. I don't miss my parents. I don't miss my parents, Millie shouted. But even as she said it, she wasn't sure if it was true. Sure, they made her crazy sometimes, but when they were together, but it was weird having them so far away, and Skyping with them on Sunday nights wasn't clearly enough to make up for her absence in her everyday life. It didn't help that she attended the bad mood during a Skype sessions mad at them for being gone, and so the conversations weren't always present. Okay, maybe you don't, Grandpa said, but something's like being eating you lately. Maybe a problem at school or falling out with a friend. I'm not saying I could help, but sometimes it feels like just to have someone to listen. Against her will, a picture of Dylan popped into her head. Dylan was the first day she met him. She couldn't believe it. This cool new guy who could have sat anywhere he wanted in the cafeteria chose to sit right across from her. Well, that never happened anymore. Now he sat at the table with those guys who never talked about anything but fantasy role-playing games. Millie sat alone with a book for her company. I told you, I don't have any friends, Millie said. Well, maybe you should try to make one, Grandpa said. You don't have to be a social butterfly. If anything, you don't want to. But everyone needs one good friend. You don't know what I need. Millie stood up from the table. I'm gonna go do my homework. Yeah, homework rights and all that. Really have homework since tomorrow was the last day before break, but she'd say whatever she had to say to get out of there. I'm going to my workshop, Grandpa said. You're not the only one who can storm out of a room, you know, girlie. It's the first time since she had moved in with her grandpa that he sounded like he was eventually mad at her. In her room, Millie opened her laptop, went to YouTube and typed in Kurt Carlson music videos. Nah, you gotta look up Linkin Park if you're that sad. I made that joke. She clicked on Death Mask, her favorite song. The video was filled with images and ravens and bats encircling vultures. I'm gonna look that song up after this. Kurt Harrison himself, growling at the sky, morbid lyrics. His black hair spiky, his complexion pale, his black eyeliner perfectly applied. Millie felt like Kurt Harrison might be the one person on the planet who would understand her. Who was she kidding? Nobody would. Please don't boil me alive. Please don't boil me alive, Millie said. She had to figure out a way of escape. Suddenly, desperately, she wanted to live. Not boiling. Well, understandable. By all accounts, it would be a nasty way to go. People who observed boilings during Henry VIII's time said it was sickening. They would have preferred to see beheading. Oh, there's a good one we haven't talked about yet. Decapitation. He said it like it was a happy word. We'll learn about decapitation next video. And I am being the dead darn diddly dang darn doopity boopity doopity truth. And I say, next video is the last time we're watching this. I mean, reading this. Well, whatever. Sure. So, I'm either going to go do FNAF Night 6 right now. Or, you know, something equally more aggravating like FNAF Night 1, FNAF 1. Night 1, FNAF 2. I've never played FNAF 2 fully. I was always stuck on Night 1. Yes, I am that dumb. But now that I've played the first FNAF game, hopefully I can get through the second one. But then again, the last time I played FNAF 2, I was 6, so... Huh. That's not a good noise. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go get murdered now. Don't die to coronavirus. Womp.